Welcome back to the video lecture series for Introduction to the Art of Programming using Scala. This will be the last video in our Spatial Trees chapter. At the end of the last video, we wrote some JUnit tests and we put them in for the KD tree, and we found that our KD tree had a problem. So if I run our tests here, we get a red bar and we have crashes that are occurring in these, and it's because we're doing an array index out of bounds exception. And we can go and figure out where that is, and somehow high is getting to -1. So in order to help diagnose this, I put in some print statements. I print out the high and the mid there. Every time I do a recursion, I print out the start, the end, and the mid. I also put another print so I would know when the call to find median was done. And that printed out this information, which, after looking at it, I was able to figure out basically what was going on. And the problem that we have is we made this change to the make tree so it works in one array by passing a start and an end. However, the code that we had written previously didn't take this into account. Our base case is based upon ps.size. Well, the way this is now written, ps's size never changes. We never actually make a smaller array. So we need to change the end condition to simply end minus start being greater than or equal to max points. Similarly, so even after that change, while that prevents us from having an exception, now I don't get any red boxes, but I do get these blues. So it expected 1, but it got 2. And the problem here is that whenever it creates a node, it puts the entire array into that node. Well, that's not what we wanted. We would just want the slice from start to end, not splice, slice. Extra letter in there. And so if we come here now, turns out that my KD tree tests are passing, but I decided to do a similar set of tests on the quad tree. So our KD tree is now happy. I could actually get rid of these print statements. For some reason though, now the quad tree is not finding things. So it's saying that there should be one neighbor and it's returning 0. If we run this again, these printouts are coming actually from the test code in here. Every time that it does a comparison between points, it prints out the point that it found that it's actually going to call a visit on. And so our quad tree currently is not finding any neighbors at all. So the question is, what could be causing that? And there are basically two things that could go wrong here. One is that our making of the tree is not getting the points down to the right location. The other is that when we're searching, we're actually not looking in the right places. So if we go through this carefully, we have making the 4 children. The first one is at a larger x and y value. So when we do our search, we go to the first child if the point plus the search distance is greater than or equal to the center x and the point search distance is greater than the center y for that. And this is basically doing an overlap between rectangles. All of that there seems reasonable. Let's come into here, and to help debug this, we're going to put in a print line of PS so that we will know when we're making a node in here. And the question is this printing out too much stuff? It's printing out a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, it's going to be kind of cryptic to us. And of course, to make this so that the error occurred, I set the max points to 1, which is what we had done on the KD tree. So that printout isn't helpful yet. What we need to do is actually, if PS is a vector and IMK string, and it doesn't have, it's actually an array, but the type A is not known as an array. PS.map, and for every point in there, this is our quad tree, so it's only 2 dimensions. How about we print out, we'll just hard code this, plus P sub 0 plus P sub 1. That prints a bit more nicely. And so when we're building this, let's go ahead and let's comment out some of these tests. I'm going to comment out all of the, or is there a nicer way for me now? We can just comment it out. So I'm going to comment out all of those. The grids are fine. Let's remind ourselves of what tests are failing. So the test quad 1 neighbor is failing. So I'm going to go ahead, that's one of the ones that's failing. There's another test quad. So now we only get the printouts from this. And the points that should have been in there were minus 0.5 and 0.5 and 4 and 3. Indeed, it looks like the problem is that when we're building the tree, we're losing a point here. You'll notice that the only thing that got printed out was the 4 and 3. So that narrows it down to this is happening inside of make tree. And so we get down to the bottom and we have a situation where the minus 0.5 is not part of this. And the question is, where should that have gone? I'm now starting, so CX and CY are the center. So the rectangle that we want to look at, yeah, therein lies the problem there. All of those are, so we make this, and this one has the plus plus, but the rectangle that we're building off of should not be plus plus because that's the lower left corner. Basically every place where we didn't do anything should be a minus h size, and the places where we added should be nothing. Okay. And that was a green bar. Let's uncomment our other tests. Run that and we have a green bar again. Okay, so, and just to make absolutely certain, uncomment all of our KD tree tests, and they're happy now as well. And if we simply take out the print lines, those other print lines are inside of our quad tree. There we go. Okay, so all 16 tests are passing, and we can feel somewhat more confident about our KD tree and our quad tree. Maybe not necessarily highly confident about them. These were not great tests. There's a lot more that we could do here, but that's enough for this set.